Well, it's just a weird thing to dabble in. Like dabbling in MMA, you really can't do it. You have to be, unless you're some freak athlete. There's always exceptions. There's always people that just have ridiculous Like apparently that's what John Jones was for the longest time before he moved to Albuquerque. Right. He would take time off and go back to New York and train some out there, but not train with anybody like the people he's training with. Before his fights.
Everybody's out there in Albuquerque now training it.
Yeah. Well, he moved there, and then once he moved there, I think everything went up to the next level. But he was a guy that could take all that time off, come back, and still fuck everybody up. Mm-hmm. Just a freak athlete.
Is he
talented
coming back
as well?
Did they lift his ban or?
I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't think they sentenced him.
Well,
I don't know if he got sentenced.
They sentenced Conor $150,000 for a fucking water bottle.
Yeah, that seemed a little excessive.
But yeah, tiny bit, huh?
Why'd they do that? Why
it's not like he's a habitual bottle thrower that, like, we are finally punishing you for this.
Yeah, I'm sick of all that bottle throwing, bro. Yeah. It is a stupid thing to do, though.
That was...
well, come on. Do you really think he was going to hit him? It's too far away. It wasn't...
I thought it was just hype for the fight, Yeah,
it is just hype for the fight.
And, it's not like he threw a glass bottle. He threw a fucking water bottle.
He refuses to fight in Las Vegas after a $150,000 fine.
That's fair enough.
Well, it's a good thing to get the Vegas people to recognize there's consequences to this, but the UFC is so big right now, they sell out no matter who's fighting.
And community service?
Yeah, these 50 hours of community service. Wow, 50 hours is a real week. It's a week worth of work. What the fuck's he got to do?
Yeah, I don't know. That's fucking ridiculous.
Well, they're flexing. People, they like flexing. They really shouldn't have thrown water bottles at each other or Monster energy drinks or whatever they did. That shit's stupid. You're going to fight eventually. You throw things at each other.
You get a little amped up. They're young kids,
But ultimately, I think the $150,000 fine is worth it for them. The amount of money that they all made, that everybody made. So the government, the athletic commission gets to step in, slap them a little bit, take a little cash, make a stink out of it. They get to protest it. But the fact is that press conference where he threw that water bottle at Nate Diaz is probably worth $400,000 as far as profit.
Right.
How many more people got hyped up for it? People love a fight at a press conference. Yeah. They love when someone Don't do it, folks. If you're listening, John Jones and Daniel Cormier, that was one of the reasons why that fight became such a big deal is because at the face-off...
But did they have to pay any fines after that?
Fuck yeah, they did. Yeah, they did. I don't know how much they paid. Well, maybe that's what the problem is. Maybe they want to discourage anybody from doing this further. Maybe they want to say, look...
It's as old as any fight game is.
And it's also real.
Yeah.
Like the John Jones one in particular was fucking real. When Daniel put his hand on John's neck and pushed him back, John was like, fuck that. That's just not happening. He didn't give a shit if there was 1 million people around. He was only fined $50,000.
Yeah.
So John was fined $50,000 and was ordered to complete 40 hours of community service, and Cormier was fined $9,000 in order to complete 20 hours of community service. So they made a distinction that Cormier was less guilty than John. Mm-hmm. But Cormier touched him first.
Did he?
Yeah, he grabbed his neck and pushed him back because John got face-to-face with him and touched faces with him.
Right.
The fines constituted 10% of each fighter's respective purse for the January 3rd fight. Wow, that doesn't even make sense. That's how little they made? Does that really make sense? $90,000, really? For the title fight?
Hey, man.
That sounds crazy. I don't know what their deal is because they get paid and then they have like a reported pay and then they have a different pay, like percentage of pay-per-view and a bunch of different stuff.
But they always show it in the papers. And,
they don't show locker room bonuses. I don't know what that means. So
they do show that.
Don't get mad at me.
When you show it where? If you go to every time I go to Yahoo News, it tells you the whole purse breakdowns for everybody, and then the bonus for the nightly bonus, and the percentage bonus.
No, they do performance of the night bonuses. Make that public, but they also do some weird locker room bonus thing.
Oh, I don't know about that.
I don't know what the fuck that's all about.
What did they just?
It's a private company. Is the point?
Didn't they just fine Roy as well?
Yeah, they're gonna fine him. What did it say? What did you just put up?
It was his Jones attorney was arguing that they shouldn't be paying off a percentage of their purses. And Cormier is scheduled to make a base pay of $90,000 for the fight, and also a possible $90,000 win bonus. So,
it just seems like a really low amount. It feels like that's not right.
It's 10%.
I know, but it's so low to be fighting for the world title.
Yep.
It seems wrong. It seems incorrect. Seems wrong too, right?
It's always seemed wrong to me.
At the highest levels, those guys are making some serious cash now. What's interesting is how many people are going to reach that level, and what you're seeing is a lot of people that are trying to sort of generate public interest the same way Conor's done.
Mm-hmm.
So there's like guys who really never really trash talked before who are really into trash talking now.
They're not good at it either.
But it's awkward and it's uncomfortable. And here's the thing: it's if you're a Conor McGregor and it comes natural and that's what you do, and that's one thing. But if you're like you've got a strategy and your strategy is to be the controversial guy, and you're gonna get everybody to pay attention to you, like, well, that's a lot of work, man.
I mean, Nate is what Nate is, you know?
Yeah, exactly. So, on one hand, it's also not what martial arts are at their best. Like, at the very best, they're two guys who want to compete and test themselves against each other at the very highest level, right? And when we think of a martial artist, we don't think of some dude who's insulting someone and spitting at him and throwing water bottles.
I mean, they're trying to take the thug aspect out of it, which is fair.
Well, when you think
because
of like
when you
elite,
think back to it, it was always Bruce Lee. Everybody respecting and bowing, and you know.
Yeah.
Now it's just a lot of meatheads who know how to fight.
There's definitely that too, but to achieve the level of like a world-class level, like you have to have so much control over who you are. You have to be able to figure out where all your personality pitfalls are and soothe out all the bullshit in your life and concentrate on the work.
Mm-hmm.
It's such a weird sport, man. There's no sport that carries the consequences of loss like MMA does.
Boxing as well, I would say.
Boxing's pretty close. But MMA, like...
But I think in MMA you can have a loss and still come back and it doesn't affect you that much.
You think it does in boxing?
In boxing, because, it's so fucking shady in boxing. Oh, he lost. No good. We need somebody else. An undefeated record in boxing means a lot more than it does in MMA.
Well, there's only been a few, right?
Right.
That's what everybody strives for. They strive for that Gennady Golovkin, perfect, undefeated record as they go into the big fight, you know? But that didn't harm Canelo. I think Canelo's stock rose in the Floyd Mayweather fight.
Yeah, because he was so young. Mm-hmm. And I was at that fight, as a matter of fact, and I think that Floyd could have stopped Canelo in that fight if he really wanted to.
You think so?
Yeah, he was just hitting him at will. And you could see Canelo going back. I mean, all he had to do was just put a little bit more pressure on him. But I think Floyd, being somewhat compassionate, was like, nah, if I stop this kid, it might ruin his career. So.
Wow, you really think that?
I think that.
Wow, that's an interesting way of looking at it. I didn't think that. I thought he's not taking any chances. He's boxing smart, and Canelo can still pop. And he carries that pop late into the fight. And he's dangerous. So if Floyd opened up to try to really hurt him and stop him, he ran the risk of being countered. Canelo's a master.
True.
Canelo's not as fast as Floyd, but his timing's really good.
It is, but at that time he was still very green.
Mm-hmm. No, for sure.
And Floyd really was in the zone in that fight. He was just hitting him pop, 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 and then he would crank a right hand on him. You see Canelo go back a little bit. I think Canelo's chin's a little overrated.
Really?
We saw that when who the fuck knocked him down in the first or second round in that one fight.
Yeah, somebody knocked him down fairly recently, right?
No, maybe about
around 4 or 5 fights ago.
Maybe about 4 years ago.
Yeah,
he was a younger Canelo then, but do you know what I'm talking about?
No, I definitely don't think he has a bad chin, but anybody can get knocked down, especially early in your career. Especially aggressive guys.
I've also heard that Canelo sparred with Golovkin before.
Oh,
and Golovkin beat the piss out of him in sparring, and that's why he's
saying no thanks.
Yeah,
not interested in that fight.
I think he's just trying to sharpen up his skill set before he gets back in there with him.
Yeah, man, I don't know how much.
I mean, Triple G knocked down Kovalev in sparring.
Did he? Mm-hmm. I had heard that.
Yeah, even Kovalev said it. He goes, he hits really hard. Because I wasn't prepared that day, but
Wow.
He said they're also very good friends as well.
Golovkin's a scary guy because he looks like some cute little boy band.
Yeah, he does not look like he can. He doesn't even look like he throws with power.
He looks like he's from a Russian boy band.
Yeah.
Right? He's so cute.
He's just so goofy,
Yeah, he's adorable. And if you look at his body, it's not the scariest body.
It's just not chiseled. It's just, he's a thin guy.